Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kay Johnson, and welcome to Off the Shelf, Book Talk with Book Lovers. So what are you reading, Betsy?
What am I reading? Well, I just finished, let me double check. I finished The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie.
Did you like it?
Yes, last time we were here, I think I mentioned I'd started it. And so I did finish it. That's the first in the Hercule Poirot series. I'm probably still...
Wasn't it her first book?
Yes.
I think it's one of her very best.
So it was, and you were right with the twist. I didn't really figure out who did it.
No,
so
you kept thinking.
No, and I think that's why she's the queen of mystery. But I did finish that one. I have kind of, it's going to take me a while to make it through all of hers. I'm going to try to...
They're good. I've read it. I spent months reading every one of hers.
Yeah, it went really quick. And I mean, I think it's a series I'm going to like reading.
It was a clever book.
Yes.
Yeah, I reread it not that long ago because I just thought,
Well, it was kind of interesting, kind of seeing his process. It kind of made me think of it made me think of Sherlock Holmes, but it made me actually think of the TV show Monk.
Yes.
Because the detective is kind of a OCD, kind of being nice. Kind of that same kind of character where he has to figure out where everything is, and he has that kind of brain. And so it's kind of interesting to see that and think, that's where a lot of those ideas probably come from now for that kind of stuff that we like. So, yeah.
Have you read any of Anne Rice's books?
Yes. The vampire lover queen over here read an Anne Rice book. Let's think about that for a minute, Kay.
Have you read Ramses the Damned?
I have not read that one.
That is a great book, okay?
Okay.
She wrote that book 30 years ago. And she wrote a sequel earlier this year, I think, or late last year, something like that.
Yeah.
It popped up one day and it was like, oh my goodness, there's a sequel. This was my favorite book for forever because it's just a really great book. Because this Ramses the Damned rises from the dead. I mean, he's sort of just inanimate, and then sunlight reanimates him, and he's in love with Cleopatra. And it's modern. Well, it's not modern. It's 1800s and stuff. But
that's a drag, I'm sure, for him when he realizes she's dead.
Oh, well, one can take care of all sorts of problems in an Anne Rice book.
This is true.
Death is the least of your problems with Anne Rice.
Death is not a problem.
But the second book's called Ramses the Damned, The Passion of Cleopatra.
Oh.
And it's good, and I recommend it if you like the first one. This one's...
Okay. I haven't read that one, no.
Well,
I've read, Interview with the Vampire and The Vampire Lestat. And
all those. She's got a new one out, too, and I just saw it the other day, but I don't know. It's about vampires.
She does that.
Yeah. But this one I would recommend if you like Anne Rice and she wrote it with her son Christopher, but it's good. So what else have you read, Betsy?
We talked about a lot of them previously.
Yeah, well, we do that.
I've just kind of been reading a lot of stuff. I've had a few actually that I didn't finish them.
No.
Yes, I've actually had a couple books the last couple months that I started and just...
You did not like them, so you did not waste the time?
I just couldn't get into it, didn't really care where it was going, and I literally put it down. The one was The Diviners by... Is it Libba Bray, I think? She wrote A Great and Terrible Beauty. It's kind of a young adult series, and this falls into that same kind of category of a fantasy kind of novel. And I just I didn't like the main character, and I just didn't really care what happened to them.
Well, that happens occasionally.
It does, but it was really funny because I told Tom, I said, I sent this book back, and he's like, did you finish it first? I'm like, no. He's like, okay. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, because you don't do that very often.
I don't.
What was the other one?
I don't even remember the name of it.
Oh, I
think I made it just 3 or 4 pages in and was. And
you really did just.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. Mm-hmm. If sometimes, if it doesn't grab me. Mm-hmm. But I typically will try and stick with it because sometimes I get good.
Like I've said, I'm a completionist, and I mean I have a list on my Goodreads that I've started now. It's the only book kind of hanging over there on its own, but for the didn't finish area, and I don't know, maybe it just wasn't kind of the right time for that book. I kind of think that's a true thing though, that you have to be in a certain mood to read a certain book.
I think that's true.
And sometimes it's just not the time to read that book.
Right.
And so maybe we'll give it a try again in a few months, years, decades. We'll see.
Well, I'm reading this one by Rita Mae Brown called Fox Tracks. And of course, it's part of a series. Are there any books that are not part of a series these days? And I did a search on Google for books, mysteries, and with blizzards, and this book popped up. And it's all about fox hunting, which I know nothing about. But it gives you this whole beginning section on useful terms, and I can learn about foxhounds, horses, the people who do all these things. So they give you a big setup before you even get into the book. And this one, the murder starts right off the gate. They go to a tobacco shop to buy tobacco, and she buys a cigarette case, and she leaves her phone on the counter and realizes it when they're out in the storm, and they go back and this guy's been shot. And so that's the premise of this book. And apparently there's a whole bunch of them, which I mean, there's look at all the books she's written.
Wow. Are they all about foxes?
Yeah. Well, no, some of them, this Sister Jane series, there's 9 books, and those are all about foxhounds.
Okay.
The rest of these I'm not sure about, but I thought, well, what do I know about riding with the...
Well, you're going to know all about it by the time
I think I am. I think I am, because they go into remarkable detail about it. So I don't know. We'll see how this one... I'm not sure. So now, have you decided what you're doing for Christmas? Are you giving books? Are you giving things? What are you thinking?
Well, I don't have a lot of people in our family, I don't know if I would feel comfortable buying a certain book without knowing if they were interested in it, because everyone in our family has such a varied interest in what they read. We have a few people that read mostly nonfiction. You have some of us that read everything, and some that don't read.
Right.
And so that's a little hard. So I mean, when it comes to buying books for people, unless I know they've asked for that specific book, I really don't feel comfortable buying books for people. If that makes sense?
I think it's a cop-out, Betsy.
I could see picking out books for you because you are just kind of an avid reader that will give anything a try.
I would provide a list.
Yes.
And but otherwise, I remember I got a Kindle. Remember when I got a Kindle for Christmas?
Yes, it was the best Christmas ever for you.
It was the most remarkable gift because
you had no idea.
Remember you were buying one for your dad, everyone. And so when I opened the package and it's a Kindle, I thought I had Jim's package. And I thought, what do I do with this? Because he's supposed to be getting it. And to find out it was for me.
Yeah.
It was a great thing. This is I've had a whole ton of Kindles. I had
some bad luck with a couple of the early ones.
I had 6 that just would die right before the warranty expired. So they just sent me a new one. And I have to say Amazon was joyful to work with on those because they never gave me any hassle. And so, here's Anne Rice's new one, Blood Communication.
Communion.
Communion,
not communication.
No, you want to do communion with blood, not communication.
We've got the sequel for her there then.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the Vampire Chronicles continue. I knew I'd seen it somewhere.
Yeah.
So on the Kindle it popped up. But I think if you're looking for gifts to give people, and you have a reader in your family, and you want to go in with some people to give a gift, a Kindle's a great gift.
Yeah.
Or a Nook. Your family's Nook. I'm Kindle.
Well, it's kind of back and forth. Mom has a Nook right now. I had one. I gave it to Rebecca. I haven't seen it since I gave it to Rebecca, so I use apps on my phone right now at this point.
Oh, so you don't have a Nook right now?
I don't have a Nook or a Kindle at this moment. I have an iPhone.
But you have a new iPhone.
I do, yes. I have an iPhone that I use the apps on, which is really convenient for on-the-go type reading. But I don't have a special little tablet. I don't have a gadget.
Ooh.
No.
Well, and you know, the thing about this gadget that I like so much, which I was saying earlier, is if you're reading a book, for instance, and you know, you can just pop it open and you can adjust the type. Because, you know, like I was saying when I was reading a real book, which I don't do very often, it's like when I'm tired, oh my God, I can barely see the type. But in a Kindle, you can just push a button, and I mean, look at how big I can get this type. You know, I mean,
yeah.
So it's you know, if you have like macular degeneration or some different eye situations, I know that people like, because they can adjust the type larger and it's easier to see. Yeah. But I think it's just the greatest thing on earth.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff out there now for book lovers, you know, with the internet and like Etsy, and so you can get like, there are book themed t-shirts, you can get book themed like socks, tote bags. There's a lot of wallpaper. Yes, even wallpaper. But I mean, there are, there's like the page one book bundles where they send you pay a set amount and then you get like a book and a candle and some socks.
Is that sort of like Fruit of the Month Club?
Something kind of like that, yeah. And I mean, there's just the standard, like the book of the month club that's out there right now, where I think you pay $15 and you get to pick between 5 different new releases.
Oh, each month?
Yes, each month you get one. And I think if you wanted to purchase a second or third in there, there's a discounted price on those, but I'm not 100% sure how that works. The page one bundles, there was a Instagram story that popped up on my Instagram when I was getting ready to come today, so I was kind of flipping through and seeing what you all get with it.
I think they're cool things, you know, because you can also do gifts like Kindle Unlimited, which is, I don't know, $9.99 a month, and you get 10 free books at any one time. And I do that. I just think it's really great because there's some really good books that come through there and authors that I never would have known without. And there's a lot of bad ones too. FYI.
Yeah.
I remember when Rebecca, my niece, her sister, was in Spain, she was reading a lot, and she texted me one day and said, Kate, these free books, some of these are really bad. Yep, they are.
And that's the one thing with like Amazon and now Barnes & Noble too with this, is that independent writers can just submit books like straight to Amazon without going through a publisher, and so some of them
they need editing, there's bad spelling. You know, theoretically I've actually found more good books though than bad books. So I mean, I do have to say that's a good thing.
The one thing that always annoys me is when like the first book in the series is on the free shelf, but if you want to read the rest of the series,
you have
then
to
you
pay.
gotta fork over $10
Always.
or something.
And you know, the one thing I will say that I'm kind of annoyed about with the ebooks is they're really jacking the price on them. The latest round, like that Ellen Hildebrand, I paid $14.99. I probably could buy a hardcover at Target cheaper.
Well, probably close to the same price, because hardcovers tend to run like $16, $17.
Well, it just irritated me because I thought, what am I getting? Your instant access, of course, which is worth a lot.
You don't have to get in your car or drive to the store.
But it still was annoying because it's just like $14.99. So I had to think like 5 minutes before I bought it.
5 whole minutes, Kate.
Well, I downloaded the preview, which is The Kiss of Death Always, because if I like it, then I obviously want to know what happens next. And in this one, I really want to know what happened next. And so it was like, okay, $14.99, do I want to spend the money? No, I don't. No, I don't. Oh, I will anyway. And then I can. So, but it was good.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was kind of funny with book like related gifts, like I just typed it in kind of on Etsy to see what would come up, and so you get like people made jewelry or different things that way, but then you get like candles that are old book scent or like bookshop scent, and I'm like, that's
what's that smell like? Old paper? Boy, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
So they have like candles, and there was one page that did like they named, like they did it was yarn that they made, but then it was like named after characters.
Okay.
So they'd chosen these colors based on.
Oh, clever.
Yes. And so I mean, I think it's interesting because you get such a wide gambit now of different products you can purchase.
Which is probably good for
Yes.
the fact that reading must be popular.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's picking up again. If you go on Instagram and you look at, they call it, is it Bookstagram? And it's just people putting out pictures of books or where they're reading, or and there's all kinds of book groups on Facebook. Like I'm in one called the Reading Nook, and so it's just people around the world that if they have questions about books, they just post something. And like there was somebody posted the other day, do you prefer audiobooks or real books? And so then everybody would reply, or people asking opinions on different books. There was The Haunting of Hill House came out on Netflix, and there were like 20 posts that were, I am watching this and it is not like the book. And then all of the comments on the newest one were, did you not see the 15,000 previous other comments that were just like this on this page that we all told you it's not previously?
Even I, who know nothing about it, knew it was a series about a family and not the book.
Well, but it was just funny because it's like, apparently we just post things and don't actually read what everybody else is saying sometimes.
I think that's true sometimes. The downside of social media.
Yes. Yeah. But it's, so I think people, I know a few people that are trying to become better readers. Like they're tired of spending so much time like on their phones, just staring at like Facebook or staring at a game.
I have to say though, the Amazon app makes it easy to read on your phone. I have a bigger phone, so it is comfortable to read. It isn't, so if I'm somewhere and
Yeah, I know. And I think between that, iTunes has the iBooks or whatever you can buy through them, and excuse me. So I think
it's accessible.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you have all the programs that are offered in the libraries around the area, which bring you in. And then since you're there, you're like, well, since I'm here, I might as well take 3 or 4 books home.
I have to say that Pioneerland library system has really upped their game.
Yeah.
My goodness. I was at the Hutch Library before I came here picking up this book, and they had a calendar right by the front counter that you could pick up. And they have something going on. The Hutch Library is having a zombie escape room.
Oh.
Who would ever have thought that?
Yeah.
They're really going for that teen reader, and they have a whole bunch of stuff for them. And then they've got an author coming on the 29th who's talking about sustainability in farming. They've got author on the 27th at the Senior Center who's talking about TB in Minnesota. Mary Krugerud, I think that's how you say her name. And she lives in Hutch, and she writes for the Minnesota Historical Society.
Okay.
And those two for sure. And then they have...
Well, there's a lady I know, it was posted on the Dassel Library page, that there's a lady going around as Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Yes, she's coming the 19th to Hutch.
Yeah,
and
so
she'll be
she's
at Dallas.
making the circuit through Pioneerland libraries. But I mean, I talked to Beth Kronk, who's the librarian for the Dassel Library in Litchfield, and she has, book clubs that meet during the week. And I know the Hutch does too on their page, and there's story hours, and there's just so many things going on there that I didn't know about until I signed up for stuff.
Katie Hiltner, the head librarian in Hutch, does a really great job of letting me know about stuff. And but they have so upped their game. I mean, they are having it used to be one author visit a year during National Library Week. And now they literally have authors every month, which is, I think, really, really great because it's fun to hear an author talk about the book because it gives you such insight if you, enjoy that characters and things. And same with Litchfield. I mean, Litchfield's offering a lot of stuff, Dassel. And they had a craft class. They did some craft classes. And this Laura Ingalls Wilder program and author presentations. It's cool. And they're free. Yeah. That's the best part. I mean, for families, what a great deal to be able to go to the library and have your kids do something fun without it costing you an arm and a leg. Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I'm very happy about legacy funds because that's who pays for. We as taxpayers, it's getting our investment back, and I think that's really, really great. And I'm so happy to see it.
Yeah. What else, besides this book, what else are you currently reading? Anything else right now?
Or? Oh, I have books on books. And every once in a while, I walk by and think, what would I like to read? Sometimes I'd like to reread books because usually what happens is like the Laura Hill or the Ellen Hildebrand is I'm into it, so I'm flying through it because I want to see it, and then find out, and then later on I have to reread it to figure out what I missed.
Yeah.
So really, I don't know. There's going to be a new James Rollins coming out. It's supposed to come out in November, and it's coming out in January.
Okay.
And so I'm looking forward to that. And I can't tell you what the name of it is, but it's a Sigma book, which is a secret organization of soldiers with PhDs. And so it's so interesting. Well, James Rollins has a PhD in veterinary medicine.
Okay.
So he's really into the science and stuff. And so his characters, they're a group of people who are soldiers with PhDs.
Okay.
And they know all sorts of interesting stuff. So I'm looking forward to that one. And I'm not really sure what else I'm going to read. I guess I'll read this one over the weekend, and then if I run out of things to do, I'll take my Kindle, and then I go to new books, and I'll start looking, and I'll download samples, then I'll read those and see if anything really clicks. Then I'll see how much they cost, and then I'll decide, well, maybe I should go to the library. So who knows? But right now I do not have a list of things I'd like to read. But that could change in a heartbeat. Give me 10 minutes and my phone, and all of a sudden I'll have 5 I want to read. How about you? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm currently reading the third book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. The third one is Heir of Fire. And I want to say that the 10th or 12th book in that series just came out, which is Kingdom of Ash. So, I mean, I've got a ways to go.
Oh, yeah, you chop.
Gotta read faster, especially since it's due on Tuesday.
Oh,
I really gotta read fast.
And
it's one of my doorstop books.
So I gotta
sit down and actually read during nap times. And then I'm looking forward to. I'm on hold for it at the library. The newest Kate Morton, which is the Clockmaster's daughter.
Okay.
I really like her books. That we've got one setting up here. The Forgotten Garden is actually the first one of hers that I read. And so she has a real kind of way of. They're usually pretty mysterious and kind of like a Gothic type writing style, but it's always some decision in the past is affecting modern
present
times. Yeah, and the thing that was interesting with this book is it's a woman that's going back and trying to learn something about the people that owned this house.
Okay,
but she writes it at a point before you had computers readily accessible, so she has to go to
do real research.
Yeah. And I had a couple people that said that there are authors that do that on purpose because now if you had to learn something, you could just pull your phone out and Google it and
get the
answers too quick. And it would be like a 20-page book because you'd figure it out really quick. So there are people that said they purposely are putting their books in those times where it was limited to, the libraries or local resources so that they can get the whole book out.
Well, I have to say that I love Google. I love it because I can just, if I have a question, I can get it answered right then and there. Especially if I'm talking to someone, this would be a perfect time. Oh, what's the new Anne Rice book? Oh, quick, look it up. Or what's this, or the new James Rollins book.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing I like about, the different book apps they have out there. Like I've talked about, I have the Goodreads app. And so with that, you can follow individual authors and then they'll update when a new book is coming out. So then you can add it to my I want to read list. And I use that when it's I want to order books from the library. I'll go to that list and see if I don't have the next book in a series, I have to order it right away and read it. Then I'll just go on and say, well, what's on this list that we could order and see if the library has it.
One thing I really like about the library and their web pages now, they will put new material or new items ordered and things. And so I can go through that list because it'll go way out.
Yeah.
And so I can see the new John Sanford or the new Anne Rice or whatever it might be. And then you can order them because it's fun when they come out and you can get them right away.
Yeah. Well, and it was pulling it back to like giving books for Christmas. There's been a thing that's posted up on Facebook. I don't know if I think it's Iceland maybe, but there's some country that it's a tradition that you give books on Christmas, and then everybody reads on Christmas Eve, and so like book sales like go way up.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that's a really cool idea.
That is a cool idea. Mm-hmm. I should add too that if you like to give gifts of books, the library has Project Bookshelf. And what they do is they accept books for children, new books, and then they're given to social services who will distribute them to families in need. And they're collecting books till December 8th.
Okay.
And they have a box at the library. You could drop off books. They also accept money, which will be used to purchase books. And so I think it's a great program, and it's one that gives kids a gift of reading, and what a fine thing. So if you have a couple extra bucks and you want to buy a book, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and we'll put that information up on our social media pages, our Facebook, Instagram. If you have questions about it, you can always send us an email at offtheshelfbooktalk@gmail.com. And on that note, we will see you next time.
Thank you.